Welcome back to Morning After, everyone. Thank you for being here with us on this Thursday morning. It is 10:16. I'm Ron Corning along with Jenny Anchondo.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Morning After. You know, in today's Second Shot Sit Down, we are learning a lesson about resilience from Anne Grady. She was a single mom with a son who suffered from severe mental illness and autism, but it would be years before they figured out what was wrong.
I knew something wasn't right when I was pregnant. I had a very difficult pregnancy. At the age of 3 years old, Evan tried to kill me with a pair of scissors. And by the time he was 4 years old, he was on his first antipsychotic. So my motherhood journey was very different than I had anticipated. My husband left when Evan was 18 months old. So I was a single mom trying to navigate a new consulting career.
In the years that followed, her son Evan was in and out of hospitals and psychiatric care. She began to learn about and study resilience and how we can train the brain to build strength. Well, today, she is a best-selling author and two-time TEDx speaker, and here's what she has to say for all of us about specifically resetting the nervous system.
One of the things that this has taught me is that your resume and your eulogy shouldn't be the same thing.
Yes!
Nobody's going to stand over your grave going, Jenny worked 80 hours a week. She was all over the, but the simplest way to reset is 3 deep breaths, and most of us breathe incorrectly. So if you hold one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach and you just breathe normally, what you find is that when we are stressed, we breathe from our chest. We take short, shallow breaths. There's a technique called diaphragmatic breathing. It's used by athletes, it's used by opera singers, and it's counterintuitive. But on the inhale, what you want to do is pretend like there is a balloon in your belly filling with air. So on the inhale, you pooch your belly out, something all of us women are taught not to do. But on the inhale, you pooch your belly out. On the exhale, you imagine there's a weight at the end of your exhale, because the exhale is the part of the breath that re-regulates your nervous system. So when you take the deep inhale, your belly comes out, you hold it for a couple of seconds and bring it back in. And I use an activity called Take 5. And so basically I trace my hand, and this is great for kids. It helps them regulate before school. It helps them really re-regulate their nervous system. It helps you do it. So you just take deep inhale as you're tracing up your finger.
Okay.
Hold it. Exhale.
Try it, you guys at home.
Pooch out your belly, hold it. Pretend there's a weight, bring in your exhale lower.
Okay, we're tracing every finger onto the ring finger.
Now, the first time I did this, I was lightheaded. And the reason for that is that your brain is not used to getting enough oxygen. A deeply relaxed person takes 7 breaths a minute, and 3 of those deep breaths will reset your nervous system. So you can do it at any time. Going for a 5-minute walk in nature will reset your nervous system. Thinking about things you're grateful for. You know, when your brain is thinking about things you're grateful for, it knows it's not being chased by a tiger. So laughter, same thing. Laughter, if you can find ways to laugh, your brain doesn't even know the difference between a real laugh and a forced laugh. It generates the same brain activity as 2,000 chocolate bars. So resetting is simply a matter of perspective. It's a matter of priorities, but it's as simple as breathing. Yet we are so caught up, so busy being busy, that sometimes we dismiss some of these simple techniques.
She is really fantastic and shares more techniques on how you can give yourself a second shot in her new book, Mind Over Movement. The full episode is out now on all podcast platforms. You'll just search on whatever podcast platform you use, just search Second Shot and Jenny, and you'll find it. It's the most recent one that's come out, Ron. And what the other thing that we only have so much time here on the show, which is why I released the full episodes with the full interview. But if for any parents who have children who have dealt with mental illness, I think this episode will be incredibly helpful, because think of how scary that must have been when you have a toddler who is dealing with such anger and inability to control emotions and calculate what's going on with them.
And not to raise an alarm, a false alarm for parents who are out there, but I felt like her mother's intuition, something so intuitive when she said, I knew something was wrong. I was having a difficult pregnancy, and she knew it wasn't just the kind of difficult pregnancy that you hear about, read about. It was something different.
But mother's intuition so often is torn down. People told her, you're a first-time mom. How do you know? The pediatrician said, well, maybe you need to work on your discipline. You know, I just can't imagine how lonely that would have felt. And so if she's dealing with it, I'm sure others are. And so I hope that you guys can enjoy that full episode and get a little bit of practical advice from her.
Absolutely, yes. Some very good stuff there. All right, when we come back in just a moment.